Well, welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave, and what a gloriously green and girthy one it is this morning. Wish you a happy and healthy and best of the best on this Thursday morning over here from a very dark Helsinki, Finland. Getting cold as fuck now as it does approach 0 degrees Celsius, which for the Fahrenheit speakers out there, don't know what that means, but plenty to talk about today, as we do want to follow up on our medium-term targets as Bitcoin did hit that $13,000 area. So what now? Are we going to pull back? Are we going to continue on? Or is it time to go sideways for the next 2 to 3 months and bore the ever-loving shit out of everyone? Well, with that said, let's put the folks over here on the Krown application, which we found at app.krown.net. And what do we see? We do see that the open interest actually very much of interest. Once again, we do see it rising with price action, suggesting that this price action is supported as we do see it go up another about 50 million to just about under 2.5 billion, which is quite a large number. So now we're kind of in uncharted territories, at least for the data that we've been mining on our own app right here. But it is worth keeping an eye on, as we do want to establish a new range with this alongside price action. Checking out the Bitcoin dominance, what do we see? Actually popped up quite a fair bit, just above 61% right now. So we've been seeing it steadily go up, actually more aggressively over the last week or so with each and every passing day. And this does suggest, well, it doesn't suggest, it quite literally says right in your face, if Bitcoin gets going, if Bitcoin's rolling, if it's Bitcoin time, then well, the altcoins are, the Bitcoin dominance is going up, so it's kind of like at least something's going up, right? No, most altcoins, as I've been saying for a while, I think that they're in a major long-term reversal, and likely going for a full retrace on a lot of them over the next half year to a year. And I do believe that we're seeing that in progress right now. Fear and greed index also popping up quite a significant points as well, all the way from a 61 to a 73. So we are officially back in the greedy zone now. And a greedy zone is not a death sentence in and of itself. We can go over here to our data tab and actually start to reference this from a chart format in this little tab down here. And you can see that we have put in some highs in the past around the upper 80s to lower 90s. That's where you do see your August high coming in right here. Like I said, we don't have a whole hell of a lot of history on this. We have been mining it ever since I believe about May. Yeah, about May-ish. So realistically, we still need to kind of, let this one roll through. But I can assure you that if you do have access to the past history, which we've definitely referenced in the past, actually straight from the source at Woobull, or sorry, no, not Woobull. They have their own website right there. Which you can look at yourself. You'll notice that, yes, a lot of highs do get put in around that like upper 80 to lower 90-ish read. Anyways, looking at the futures versus perps right here, we do see that futures is obviously increasing their premium, which is what you would expect as market makers kind of price this sort of a sort of a move in. And what do we see on the Bitcoin global funding rate? Well, now actually really popping back up, but still it's very much revealed within this tab right here that it's actually not that big of a deal. We still see Bybit, BitMEX, Huobi, and Binance all at 0.01%. FTX being the odd man out right now at 0.12%, which is definitely high and definitely worth paying attention to. But seeing as I don't see it on the other bigger exchanges, which still I look at BitMEX as kind of like the going rate for them, even though BitMEX just came out and said like, hey, if you don't do KYC by I think November, we're just going to close your account. So fair enough, good luck with that. But still, until we have another reason to believe that something else is taken over fully, I'll still be kind of going with the majority of these guys, which is showing that it's actually, as far as I'm concerned, still kind of tethered to it and not really any major issues. So with that in mind, let's go over here to the actual price action charts themselves, and let's follow from yesterday's short-term analysis and then talk about, the day to come and everything. So yesterday we did say, let's go back here down to like an hourly. Jesus Christ, man, so much has happened since we last spoke. Okay, so yesterday we were marching up to this region right here, something like that. Let me just double check. Yeah, because we got that 12-hour close above 12.2, and now it's the big area right there. Yeah, so this was this guy, so that's 3 a.m. my time. Just let me match this up so this all makes sense. And yes, this was yesterday, as we saw it, and we got that move up to about 12.2. We did get a pullback back down to about 12.1 as we spoke about. I was looking for a little bit deeper than that, towards 12,000 even. Close enough is close enough at the end of the day. And more importantly, we initiated the next move with getting a 12-hour closure above that 12,200-ish region right here. And that initiated that next move up towards the $13,000 region based upon the, hey, where is it? There it is. Based upon the fib extension right here, which shows a 1.272 right around actually 13,200. Yesterday, I was showing it at 13,000 even. The reason why that was is because I was using bodies, and this actually is obviously relevant for bodies because because guess what? Where did we close? We closed right at the one spot 272. If you're using wicks, if you're just trying to scalp it, then yes, it would have got you that $13,200 high. Also synonymous with this measure move coming out of this formation right here as well, which I believe we spoke about yesterday. And now what's likely to happen, I'd likely be looking for Bitcoin to play a little bit of sideways and down now on the medium term time frame. So I do think that the party's over for just a little bit here. Probably going to hang around, above 12,500 for the weekly closure, and then we'll come back next week and talk about continuation or not. But I think that there's a few other major things to be speaking about right here as well. Looking at the volume of this breakout, that is real. That is very likely to get follow through, and basically the sort of bias that I want to be having over this next week is that the pullback likely does get bought up, and I probably would be a little bit more aggressive with that. Now, a lot of people have been asking me about my positions and everything, and I haven't really been too vocal about it. I go back and forth with this a lot of time, and I just don't think that it sends the right message. But for basically what most people are asking, I'm basically a hodler right now, if you want to call it that, with long-term positions, and I'll kind of leave it there. And well, fair enough. Anyways, okay. So with that in mind, let's go down to the lower-term timeframes and start talking about what's likely for today, as we do get a nice sell-off actually directly from that region, going all the way from 13,000 almost 300. Yeah, it's 13,250 all the way back down to about 12,750. So a $500 move all in the same 4-hour dildo. Pretty damn impressive right there. Anyways, what I would be looking for, and actually we're probably need to go to, we can start off on the 4-hour right here. But what I want to start to see is start to see some divergences, and I want to start to see some momentum oscillators turning down plus historical volatility percentile. This is what we were talking about yesterday. We want to see this get at least into the 90 read and get kind of red here before looking for a greater pullback. I believe we're seeing that right now. Now the moving average is still having a positive slope, and obviously the volatility is still above it, so it probably does grind this area out a little bit. That likely does equate to a little bit of sideways action right here. But I don't think that we're going to be making a new high on this run as it is right now, or at least not a new closing high. Although then again, a closing high would just be above about 12.8. So that's I would not hold true to that statement. I would be not looking for a new wick high though, as it is right now. Looking at 4-hour Stokes, what do we see coming back down? It looks like as we do grind at the top level critical zone, and usually this is where you're going to be finding your tops. A lot of the times in the past, not always, and a lot of the time you will see a little bit of drama surrounding it. But after so many snakes within this region, especially in the critical zone, yeah, the next sort of tick that goes below the critical zone, I'm looking for, a greater pullback, probably back down to the mid 12,000s at the very least, and probably even low 12,000s over time. Looking at 4-hour RSI, same thing over here. We're very likely to create some divergence at some point in time. Is it in the cards right now? Absolutely not. It would also imply that we do make some new closing highs on this region. So maybe we play out a range here, going a little bit sideways between about 12.7 and 13.1, 13.2 for a bit of time, and then probably put in some actual divergences and then play out a bit of a bit of a pullback. So realistically, what I'm saying right now is that a little bit of sideways and down is probably what I'm looking for, but I don't look for the greater pullback to happen probably until next week actually. So fair enough. Let's go over here to the 3-hour. We expect to see something relatively similar. Yeah, and it is a little bit more aggressive as you would expect, and coming back down below the critical zone on the next tick very likely. Looking at 3-hour RSI, breaking the exponential on it as well. It's the same sort of signature that we see on the 4-hour, so it's good to see confluence between these two things. Basically sideways, probably comes back down, tests around like 12.6 or 12.550-ish region. I don't think that it's going to break there right now, and plays out a range between about 12.550, which I'll actually plot in right now, right around here, all the way up to this area right here at about just under $13,000, and that's essentially what I'd be looking for today actually. Looking at historical volatility percentile, yep, we're seeing the exact same thing here. Got all the way up to a 95 percentile, which is pretty fucking intense and likely to signal the next sort of sideways and down momentum. What do we see over here? Same thing, just a little bit more leading it in for the 2-hour Stokes. And what do we see on 2-hour RSI? More aggressively breaking the exponential. So yes, we're seeing everything follow through with each other, and I do think that it's important to reiterate that on the long term of this whole formation, very constructive. I do like it across all these time frames for the for the RSI, but all of them do imply a little bit of downside here. This one even given a bit of regular bearish divergence plus a head and shoulders, as you can see, which likely does test us down around about 12.6 or 12.550-ish region. I'd probably be looking for a short-term bounce right there. What about the hourly? What do we see here? We see exactly the same thing, just more aggressive here, coming down very aggressively below the critical zone. That's usually the good sign. And what do we see over here? Regular bearish divergence confirmed on caretaker's RSI from this point to this point, correlating with this point and this point right here. Move down to the 21, fucking classic. And there you go, there you fucking go. Even hindsight trading this one, not so bad. And I believe the hourly jewel gave a decent sell signal right here as well, as they all get pulled into each other and then down. And where exactly was that, by the way? I want to see exactly where that was. So this would have been the more aggressive signal. This would have been the obvious signal. This would have been the, like, you're waiting too long signal. But let's see what was that at 2 a.m. for the waiting too long signal. And that was actually right here on that. Wow, that actually did catch the, it doesn't always do that though. Usually it catches like this high right here and then the momentum. But in this case, it actually did catch the high, so not bad. Anyways, so yes, lower term timeframes, playing out a range, sideways and down is what I'd essentially be looking for. And let's actually go to a fresh chart for this one, just to kind of plot this out. I'm going to be using my BitMEX chart for more short-term price action, and GDAX will probably use to just like follow things from the day prior. So I want to be marking off this area right here, of course. I want to be marking off this area right here. That's kind of grabbing our current wick lows, and then anywhere around like 12.5. All these going to be very, very relevant for the short term only. If we're even going up to like a 4 hour, does that change quite a bit? Yeah, it actually does. As realistically, it's only relevant for about 12.6 where we are right now, and all the way down here to about 12.3 to 12.2, of which I do think Bitcoin very likely does come back down and test there, but probably not till next week. I do think that this week, especially if we're going to see further continuation onto the upside overall on the greater whole for this asset, what we'd probably like to see is Bitcoin kind of close decently above like maybe 12.5 coming into the weekly right here. Really anything above 12,000 is going to be considered pretty fucking good, or especially 12.1, as we would have new closing highs. We basically have our highest closing highs on a weekly ever since January of 2018. So that is quite the change of behavior right there. But that does mean that it's going to take a little bit of an ebb and a flow right here. So I do think that this next week probably going to be mostly sideways, and caught within a range, and then probably another try to the upside, maybe coming into like November, as we are getting pretty damn close to the end of October right now. I'm just bringing up can you actually see this over here? Oh, nice. You actually can see that. It's kind of cool. I'm bringing up my calendar right here. Yeah, we got just over a week left of October here until Halloween time, which I'm going to be doing absolutely fucking nothing during, because, well, I'm a professional nerd, I guess, and I guess not, I guess, probably definitely so. But yeah, for all the other people having fun out there, there you go. Have a nice day in your life. Anyways, so let's actually go through the medium term timeframes before we reference the higher term timeframes. We don't really have many new things on the higher term timeframes, except for one incredibly important thing that supersedes everything else that I'm going to say on every other thing that I've said thus far, and is perhaps even the most important thing to be looking at right now. There you go. Anyways, what do we see on the 12-hour here? Referencing some medium term timeframes. Yeah, massive spike in volume. How much was actually done here? Oh shit, I need to turn on my indicator arguments. Motherfucker. God damn it. I really dislike that. I really dislike that. All right, okay. I must know. Just out of curiosity, where's my no status line indicator value? So that's what I'm looking for. We see, wow, almost 2.5 billion being done on this right here. BitMEX definitely has lost a shit ton of their market share, because usually you'd expect like 4 billion to 5 billion on a 12-hour like that. Very interesting right there. Very, 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 very interesting. Anyways, I'll leave them on for now. Doesn't look that bad as kind of like muddy in the territory. Anyways, looking at 12-hour Stokes, which did kind of lead us up and gave us that nice little Bula-ish bias back on over here at the 4250 tick, that rejection of the bearish control zone, of which I don't have it plotted out on this chart, but I do on this chart, playing out still. But as you can see, we are approaching the top end of this. So yeah, I do think that we're coming into a little bit of a sideways and pullback situation right here, setting up for the weekly closure. Anything above 12,000, especially 200, is phenomenal. Even above 12,000 is completely fine as well. But for right now, yes, it is kind of showing that we are coming likely into a little bit of a short-term stop right here, which probably does come alongside of testing both a little bit to the upside, maybe back around 13,000, and also to the downside, probably mid 12,000. If I had to call it right now. 12-hour RSI, yes, seeing that quick move outside of the critical zone and then getting pushed back on, I would be looking for this one to come back down and test around the exponential on this. Again, long-term, very constructive, very fucking good. Really, 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 really like this whole formation right here. But short-term, likely to come back down. And historical volatility percentile actually starting to really increase and break the last sort of few highs that we've been seeing within this. So on the greater whole, we are still expanding. On the greater whole, this very likely does have more to go with it In fact, I'd say I'd feel very confident with that, but that can take a couple weeks here. So a little bit of patience is, I think, going to be required in this next segment. Looking at the daily, what do we see as well? We do see daily Stokes nice and up as well. However, they are going to be hitting this trend line, going all the way back from our highs. We could even pull them a little bit further than that. I guess I already have it in there, which is our February highs, our April highs, our July highs, and then more recently our October highs. And that was correlated with all these major highs right here, I believe right here, and then more recently on this one before this nice little pullback. But again, on the whole, look at this. We are expanding right here, and we're coming from that very low read, of which we finally got that first sort of like splurt, if you want to call it that. And, again, for reference, anytime that we've seen historical volatility percentile expand from a very low read like this, anything in the single digits, you're looking for big moves. You're typically speaking for Bitcoin, you're looking for like multi-$1,000 moves to the upside and catastrophic moves to the downside. In this case right here, this gives you the move from about 9,300 to 12,500. It's, $3,000 right there, not bad. Going a little bit further in the, in the history of time, we see this one right here, another month-long consolidation before it blasts the upside. This one giving you all the way from about 73 to about 10.5. So again, another $3,000 move or so. This one over here, phenomenal one as well, giving you the signal in late March of 2019, all the way from 4,000 to, you could say 8,000 for a 2x, you could say 14,000 for a few months later. It's all the same thing. And then of course, right here in 2018, getting extremely low for a long period of time. This one was a bit of an outlier, to be fair, giving you that move from 6,000 to 3,000. So it's direction neutral, of course, but it does imply that big bad swaths of price action are incoming. And with that in mind, I would be looking for this to expand in a similar way to what we see on the lower term timeframes to really denote the next major high on this current run, which likely does lead into like one of those segments of 1 to 3 months long of sideways and painful consolidation before giving the next big breakout or breakdown. In this case right here, though, I still look at this as likely to have more overall moves to the upside, again on a daily, which is not necessarily going to be beholden to the lower term timeframes, which are looking more like a pullback right now. Daily Jewel, I think that this one's mostly played out, probably does get another stint back into the critical zone, but that's probably going to mark your next high. Typically does denote major highs in the past, and again, I'd probably be looking for a greater pullback based upon that, but for right now still has a little bit more on the daily, so to speak. So with that in mind, let's go over here and let's actually go back to BitMexico right here. Let's go down to a 2 hour and let's see what sort of areas do we want to plot out. Okay, let me just make sure that I got this right. Okay, so we got our current area at about do we want to make it 12.7? Do we want to make it 12.650? Do you want to use wicks or do you want to use bodies? I think both are fine here. But realistically, I do think that this area is going to break, whether you're bullish or bearish. And I'd be looking for a move back down to about 12.5 region. And I do think that 12.5 or around 12.5 is going to bounce price action. I don't think that we're going to break lower than there today. But if there is any if there is any greater break to the downside, I do think that it happens likely over the weekend or coming into next week with the way that kind of things are angled right now. Speaking of, let's go check out the 2-day and 3-day, as we, I believe, closed the 3-day yesterday. The 2-day is doing the 2-day just looks phenomenal long term. I really like this chart. I have absolutely no issues with it. 2-day Stokes, a little bit of an issue right here. Yes, they are going to be hitting that trend line, or I guess I don't really have one in there, but you can kind of visualize one, no problem. And more importantly, this is the 2-day Stokes signal. Remember that called our last few major lows. This was your December 2008 lows not 2008, but 2018 lows all the way around 3,100. The next test on that trend line was actually right here at about 4,000 on the March coronavirus dump lows. And then the test after that was actually, hold on, did we actually have one before that too? Nope. No, the next test after that was actually right here at about 10,000. So momentum is being gained as Bitcoin, crawls higher and higher and higher, which long-term good momentum essentially just shifting to the upside. And again, from a momentum also perspective, I like it. I don't really have anything specific to add onto that time frame right here. And what about the 3-day? No, we did not close a 3-day last night. Okay, what am I thinking then? Are we closing one tonight? No, we must be closing a 2-day tonight though. Yes, absolutely we are. Any sort of a 2-day closure above 12,500, I'm basically looking for long-term more upside essentially. 3-day, still got a couple days left, so maybe we talk about it tomorrow instead. Okay, cool. So with that in mind, let's actually shift our focus now to the higher term timeframes. Has anything changed in the last 24 hours? Actually, yes, something very significant has changed, and this matters a lot, and this is a big deal, and this is what makes me likely more bullish, I guess. And that is we took out the last we took out our yearly highs on that move above 12,500ish region, which by the way wasn't the same on CMEs. CME is showing a much lower price actually in comparison if you like add up the premium. But coming back on over here to our other chart, very, 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 very likely to test back up long term, back up towards the upper 13,000s, wherever this wick was right here. And I'm sure that that lines up with our fib extensions here as well. Yes, indeed, it does. You see the one spot for, okay, let's actually do this properly. It's like hard to see with all these fucking horizontals here. Sorry about that. Should I just redo this on BitMexico? Yeah, we can just redo this on BitMexico. Nice and easy chart right here as well. Okay, where's my fib retracements? There we go. Let's go back down to a daily for this one in particular right here. We'll use wicks on this one as well, as price action is rather volatile right now and probably does, probably does do a little bit of intense wicks. Yeah, so one spot 414 is right around that 13,600ish region, which would line up with those prior wicks within this region. So yes, I would be looking for another pullback there as well, similar to what you're seeing at the one spot 272. And realistically, going onwards and forwards from here, yes, there are a few relevant horizontals going back to our last stint within this region, above 13,000s. In 2018, but realistically right now I don't trust that much these areas back around here just because Bitcoin has spent too much time within them. What I do trust, and I say that word loosely, by the way, I say that word very loosely, is fib extensions, just because it's a given that many bots and algos are going to be targeting these regions and they're going to be taking profit around them. So I would keep an eye on them as they do actually naturally line up with some pretty important pivots as well. We do see the next one at the 2 spot, which is just above $15,000, which is one of your major highs. Yeah, coming in from this meltdown in January 2018 as well. We do see 16,000 and 16,500, of which that's where your big bad bull trap was back here in 2018 as well. You can see it breaking down below this level and just absolutely catastrophic. And so all these still do line up. So I do like the confluences there, and I do think that these areas will get some love. But just like that, going on for our lower term timeframes, can we do the same thing? Actually judging our bullish pullbacks here. Well, actually, yes, you can. And what we could do here for the short term is we could take our high currently and we could drag it down to our breakout of yesterday, which was just around 12.2. So we'll do something like this, and let's see how that lines up with our horizontals right now. And actually pretty damn well. So we do see the 12.5 level right here. We do see the 0.5 right here at about 12.7ish region. And other than that, I mean, to the upside, I would look for a cap on this, probably somewhere just above 13,000, around the 786, as that does seem to get some play. If we were to extend this into a more aggressive read, what would it look like? It would look, no, that wouldn't make much sense. If we actually took a more conservative read on this, it'd actually make even more sense. Yeah, so I do like this one a little bit better. 618 showing where we are right now, 0.5 showing that 12,650ish region, 382 showing 12.5, 236 showing 12.3 breakout. So I do like all of that as well, and it does further enhance these horizontals right here as likely bounce areas. It can just kind of play level to level in the same way that I typically show. And of course, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is further thing from financial advice. And if the SEC is listening right now, please don't butt fuck me. Okay, so with that in mind, let's go check out CMEs. Is there anything obvious on CMEs right here? 4 hour looks a lot more toppy. Looks like it wants to trade back down towards 12.5ish region. Not really too much to add onto it other than that. Nice little what would you call this right here? Long-legged doji dildo, which is a sign of indecision, perhaps even reversal. And in this case, it looks like a reversal. Looking at momentum oscillators, yeah, I would be saying the same thing. Basically the same as what we see on spot price action. So good confluence there. I'm curious if there's anything different on the daily, and not really. No. Long-term good, short-term pulley back. And that's basically all I'll say about that. Let's go over here to our secondary charts because there is plenty to talk about here. Daily showing the topside Bollinger Band right around that 12,550 to 12,600ish region. So again, lines up with the short-term timeframes. I really like that. I do think that Bitcoin will test back down there today. If I had to call it right now, somewhere around 12,550ish region, I do think that it will bounce again there today. I will not call the top of this run. Or I won't even call that this run is over at all, as long as Bitcoin is closing daily dildos above the topside Bollinger Band of this. And guess what? We just got our first girthy green dildo closure above it yesterday on volume, alongside MACD turning up, alongside DMI plus ADX strengthening at the same time. I mean, yes, today's probably going to be sideways and a little bit boring, but long term, I'm looking for some more upside on this one. Just put it very, very bluntly. What did we see on the 12-hour? Same shit. Likely coming back down to like 12,550 today, but I would be looking for a bounce there. Does it come down a little bit lower? Maybe not. But in that case, I'll just be going level by level, and we do have a nice, very obvious and well-defined level at 12,550. Anything on the 2-day and 3-day here? Yep. So we did see this signal play out as well from the 2-day DMI. Remember this? We spoke about this right here with the DMI plus getting dominant, ADX strengthening at the same time. Boom, massive move. And anytime that we've seen a similar signal, this has been really fucking good. We saw it right here, precipitating this breakout. I'm going to take everything off, by the way. I'm going to get naked on these charts. We see it right here on this little signal. Actually, this was a $1,000 move, by the way, even though it didn't really pan out all that well. This one over here giving you a beautiful signal from about 75 all the way to 10. This one over here giving you a phenomenal short, actually. 2 dildos before the death dildo of coronavirus from about 7,700 to 4,000. What do we see back over here? Nice little short opportunity right there. You get the idea, right? Anyways, and a lot of people have been asking me about the DMI ADX. Do you have to be in the program to get this? I mean, technically you have to be in the program to get this exact one that I'm using right here, but you can remake this one yourself. The formula for this is not proprietary. Anyone can do it. Just add an ADX to a DMI and voila, change your fucking colors around and have a nice day for yourself. So there you go. It's relatively easy to do. So if you have a little bit of know-how with some Pine script, and I'll just leave it there. Anyways, 2-day MACD increasing as well. I like it. 2-day Trollinger bands showing 12,150 as a nice little base here. But again, I want to see this one actually close first. I imagine that's going to get pulled up to about 12.4, 12.5, and then we probably pull out a bit of a base there. So with that in mind, here's what the 3-day says as well. Even though it's not as relevant, we did just get a fresh cross on MACD to the upside. This one very important because not only did you get across the upside, but you actually did blast through some pretty important resistances to the upside as well, creating a new uptrend as we do make new highs on this front as well. Pretty fucking good. All right, fair enough. So with that in mind, also let's go reference the monthly as well. How does this change everything, or does this change anything? Let's go over to spot price action. By the way, CME's like the second that CMEs go above this high right here, 14,170. God damn it, man. We need more bearish shit here. We need more bearish shit because it doesn't feel right to do this. It really doesn't feel right. I'm like struggling right now. Monthly on spot price action, really fucking good. All right, Craig, I'll say it, you fuckface. I'll fucking say it to you and your goddamn stupid dog. Sorry, I love you, dog, but yeah, probably had to back up here over the next like half year to a year. Okay, fair enough. There you go. Happy? You happy? Are you happy? All right, moon boys. I guess I'm a moon boy now. Monthly RSI. It's really fucking good here too. Monthly Stokes. Really fucking good here too. I don't want to be bullish. I really don't. It's more fun to be bearish, and usually the money comes faster in down markets. But Bitcoin being a volatile piece of shit does make it rather generous on the upside as well. So fair enough. You know what? I'm putting on the hat, I guess. Long term, of course, nothing's really changed here. Long term, we've kind of been bullish ever since that Bitcoin put in this base around about $9,000, and even sooner than that on the monthly, above $8,000, I believe it was. Yes, that was the break back above the 10 simple right here. Yeah. Kind of hard to be bearish when you're above all major moving averages. Now, again, I would be looking for a pullback anywhere around this wick right here, which is in line with that next fib projection right around about 13,600 to 13,800 region. But the second that we take out this high of June 2019, I'm looking for big moves. 16,000. 19,000. There you go. There you fucking go. There you fucking go. All right. God damn it, man. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, but I do feel that way. Yes. Okay. So with that in mind, bi-monthly has anything changed here? No, still looks fine, or at least what you can make of that is fine. Bi-monthly RSI right here is okay too. It's not really too much history, to be fair. Let's see. How long have we been talking? Oh my God, 28 minutes. Okay, let's go quickly do some traditional markets, and then we'll probably follow up on the Forex video. All right. Where's my traditional? Where the fuck are you? Where are you, sir? Yeah. Okay. NASDAQ coming back down. I forget what I even said about NASDAQ yesterday. I probably said probably set a range. If anything, I don't feel strongly about this price action right here. If anything, I'd be looking for some downside back down to about 11,350-ish region, but I don't feel strongly about this, and I want to be very, very adamantly clear about that. SPY futures, this one looks a little more downside angled. Yeah, 33.69 region I'd be looking for. Again, don't feel as strongly about it, but this one does look a lot more obvious than NASDAQ, so I would be looking for this one to give the direction. And yeah, a little bit of downside here as momentum also has turned down at the same time. What about Mr. Butyrol? No, that's euro dollar. What about Mr. Butyrol over here? Closing on new highs as well, or did we? Yes, we did. I'd be looking for this one to march back up towards about 410 and 435 more long term, but short term, what does that equate to? Short term probably does. Short term, I don't have a strong opinion on it. I'd be referencing the weekly right here. Any sort of a weekly closure, like basically literally where we are at right here, I'd be looking over the next couple of weeks to move up to about 430. That's what I feel confident in saying here. Okay, back on to, should we just cover up Bitcoin for one last hurrah, or maybe look at some linkies, some linky USDs? And what do we see here? Trying to hold its range, trying to hold its own. I probably said yesterday, coming back down to $8.50. It's going sideways as fuck. Probably back up now. I think most alts are going to follow Bitcoin, just not at Bitcoin's pace. So fair enough. There you go. So if this one's going to follow through, I'd be looking for 12.75 to be hit to the upside. But still, similar to Mr. Butyrol, I'll be looking at the weekly right here. Weekly closure anywhere above the 10 simple. Yeah, I look for that extension to about 13.75, maybe even higher than that over time. But I don't feel that strong about these ones. The strong feelings that I have is that they probably follow Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin just rises the tide, then these guys will naturally float up as well. So going back into Bitcoin over here, we didn't really even talk about more immediate upside. Continuation if it were to happen. But I suppose if we do take out yesterday's high at 12,250, I would look for extension to that 13.6 to 13.7-ish region that we spoke about earlier, and then a greater pullback from there. But I do think that it's a little bit less likely that we do see continuation of the upside here before some sort of like sideways and downside first. So again, levels as they are, levels as they be currently. We're on the wrong chart once again. There we go. 12.7 right here. If that breaks, I'd be looking for 12.5. Just personally speaking, I think Bitcoin hits 12.5 regardless of whether you're bullish or bearish, and regardless of this level right here. I think it's more or less of a formality right now. I would look for a bounce at 12.5. If 12.5 fails, I would look for a test all the way back down. 12.2 is going to be relevant as well, probably for a short-term time frame bounce, but realistically, I'd be looking for something like this to about 12.2 to 12.1, something like this actually, even though this area very likely does bounce, but it's only relevant for the very short-term time frames, to be fair. And I'm basically long-term bullish. I'm long-term bullish as fuck on Bitcoin as long as it's above about 12,200, we'll call it, yesterday's breakout. Now, if we do break back above and close a 2-hour dildo above 13,000, do I think that we're going to head back up and test 13,250? Probably yes, but I don't feel as strongly about that. I actually feel a lot more strongly about sideways and down right here. Long-term still upside. Long-term still looks phenomenally good, but I do think that Bitcoin's ready for a little bit of sideways and down, and I think that's where I'm going to leave you off right now. I will be back on later with some fast forex, if you want to call it that, which has been really, really fun. So I'm enjoying that. I've actually been enjoying it a lot. I hope that other people have been enjoying it as well. And with that said, I'd like to wish you the best once again. Take care, and until next time.